Guys, thanks again for joining us this evening to talk about the Graduate College's Master Teacher Leader Arkansas Tech. My name is Caitlin Beard, and I'm the Graduate Admissions Officer. And also I have two awesome panelists here with us today to discuss the programs, and I'm going to let them introduce themselves.
Everyone, I'm really excited to be here today to share information about the Master of Education program in Teaching, Learning, and Leadership. My name is Dr. Ellen Treadway. I am the program director, and we call this the MTLL program, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. I am a professor at Arkansas Tech. I've been here for 9 years, and I teach classes in curriculum and instruction for students who are going for their initial teacher licensure, and classes for students who are interested in a curriculum administrator license. I am an Arkansas native. I have taught all levels of education in Tennessee right after college, and then I moved to the Midwest, where I went to graduate school and taught school there while I was getting my doctorate, and then out in New Mexico, where I did my dissertation field work in language education, bilingual education, second language acquisition. And I've always been a teacher educator. It's really where my heart is. And I'm just very happy to be here today to share information about this really neat, innovative program in teacher leadership and curriculum administration.
Hey y'all, my name is Lauren Breyer, and I am from Pottsville, Arkansas, which is just a hop, skip, and jump away from Arkansas Tech's beautiful campus. I am 75% done with my non-traditional licensure and my Master's of Education here in this wonderful program at Arkansas Tech. And I did do my undergraduate work here too. I have a bachelor's in history and public history and a minor in associates now in Ozark Washita Studies. I just graduated with that back in 2019.
Great. It's great to have you guys to discuss these programs that we offer. Just want to remind everyone joining us that if you do have any questions, you can go ahead and send those in the chat, and we will read those out and answer those at the end. And also be sure to include your email in the chat, and we're going to draw for a $40 application fee waiver at the end, but you have to put your email in there so that way we can send it to you. So be sure to go ahead and do that and send any questions you have. So I'm going to go ahead and ask Dr. Treadway to just give a brief overview of each of the programs that we're going to be discussing tonight. I think she's going to share her screen with us.
Great. Thank you, Caitlin. Yes, I'm going to share my screen, and I'm going to bring this over here. Okay. Well, everyone, this is the course rollout, which means that these are the courses that students take in the Master of Education Teaching, Learning, and Leadership program. MTLL really is an umbrella for several different programs. Actually, there are really 4 different programs that students can pursue if they want to through this program for teacher leadership, initial teacher licensure. And I thought it would be good to just take a look at this document. If you will definitely put your email address in there, I'll send this to you because I'm just going to go over this very quickly. This column on the left, these are the classes for the non-traditional teacher licensure program. And this program is for people who have a bachelor's degree or even a master's degree, and they want to change careers usually, or they are coming out of college and they know that they want to go into teaching. And so they come in, everyone who comes in to the non-traditional teacher licensure program will teach the content area in which they majored in college. And we prepare people to teach middle level and secondary. And there's really definitely a need for teachers there. And then the other program in which we offer a Master of Education degree is this K-12 Curriculum Administrator program, Curriculum Leadership program. And this program is for teachers who have been teaching 2 years or more, who want to take on a leadership role in their school. This is a building level leader program. And then over here, we have an instructional facilitator endorsement program, and soon we will have a teacher leadership designation program, which it will be the same as the instructional facilitator endorsement. These are not degree programs, but they do result in in addition to an Arkansas teacher's license. And so if you go through these programs, these are fewer hours than the master's programs, but you will see after you take an exam, you'll see that endorsement or designation on your teaching license. So I'll just scroll through these because I want you to see how our program works. It's really neat. Our department is called the Center for Leadership and Learning, and we're part of the College of Education. And these programs were designed so that you'll see, for instance, here, these classes are shared across programs. And I went ahead and added the Educational Leadership Program here because many times students who go through the non-traditional teacher licensure program will then take one more year of coursework to earn their curriculum administrator license. And then if they want to go even one more year, they can earn their building level principal license. So, and this is what we called stacked programs where, and let's just kind of scroll through this. Notice here that these courses really almost across the board are going to be the same, which is so nice because that really saves everybody a lot of time. There's continuity. So these courses here build on the courses here. So for example, a student will take this communication course and then they take basic elements of curriculum and then education and society. So there's a kind of a developmental continuum here. And so there's a building of concepts and learning experiences throughout the program. Our program is 38 hours. It takes 2 years to complete the program. Students go take class in the summer, and I'll scroll down here, in the fall and the spring, and then they repeat summer, fall, and spring. Now, students can enter the program at any time. They can come in the summer 1, which is the month of June, or summer 2 in July, or fall and spring. And we really work as a family. We work in our classes. These are graduate seminars, graduate courses, and we really work as a professional learning community. And so everyone helps each other. So if you come in the spring and you might have missed something that some of your classmates learned in the fall, well, we'll help you get up to speed, which is really neat. And there are just a couple of things that I want to point out here. This program is all about, of course, curriculum and teaching strategies or pedagogy. And then there's some really interesting aspects of it, like grant writing. We have a whole course on TESS, which is the Teacher Excellence and Support System. There's a course here on evaluation. Here's one on organizational change and leadership. And so this program really prepares graduates to not only be effective classroom teachers, but also to participate and lead teams of other teachers or participate in, say, other committees at the school level. And so from the very first day, I really stress that students really learn everything that they need to do so that they can hit the ground running the first day that they are teaching, so that they can participate in all aspects of the life of the school. And that is just second nature to many of our students who've already had leadership roles, or they've been working in banking or engineering, or maybe they were the president of their sorority or fraternity or some other kind of organization if they're just right out of college. And then you can see here at the end of this document, we have the course hours, the total course hours. There are some exams that have to be taken. The praxis content exam needs to be taken before the student teaching internship. And then at the very end of the program, the professional learning and teaching, that's another ETS praxis exam. One more thing I would like to mention is that students who go through this program can start teaching on a provisional license, because our program is approved by the Arkansas Department of Education, Division of Elementary and Secondary Education, as an approved alternative licensure program. Most students work in schools. Most students start teaching in schools, really their second year, and I highly recommend it. And so from the very beginning of enrollment, I work with students to get their background checked, to take their content exams, and be ready to go ahead if they have the opportunity to teach in a school that they really would love to go to work in. That match is really important. So we do a lot of mock interviewing and a lot of networking on behalf of students so that they get that job that is right for them, their very first job that is right for them. So yes, again, please put your email in there, or you can email me directly and I will send you a lot of information. And you know, I often work with people who sometimes end up at other universities. So if you're on this and you just have a general question about how things work, I'll be happy to help you there as well.
Great. So one question we did have in the chat is they asked how the program was delivered. They asked about online classes. If you could give a little overview about that.
Yes, that is an excellent question. Well, right now, because we're still in the midst of COVID-19, courses are being delivered just like this and over WebEx. So we have video conferencing classes that I believe have really worked well. And our program is a face-to-face program, but because we use a lot of technology, I think pivoting to online synchronous classes has really worked well for everyone. This summer, we will be online, but we hope to be back to face in the fall. That's our hope. And so we're just hoping that that happens. We are a face-to-face program because we really believe that during the teacher preparation period, it's really important for everyone to come together for these important discussions and for micro teaching experiences and to have meetings with guest speakers face to face. Although we've been able to do a lot of that with our WebEx, and that's really worked well. Now, students take 6 hours each semester. That's a full load for an NTLL student, both the non-traditional teacher licensure and the curriculum leadership student. And that means that students attend class 2 evenings a week. And oftentimes we'll decide to maybe work online or have a video conference because maybe there are, parent-teacher conferences, and maybe half of students will be tied up on the night when we're scheduled to be in class. So we may just meet online or schedule for another evening if we need to meet. So there's a lot of flexibility there because we're adults and everyone works who comes through this program. And so our classes are in the evening. We start class at 5:30 and we end class at 8:30. And sometimes it's 8 o'clock if we've gone, 2.5 hours straight. And usually we do because we get on a roll and time just goes by so quickly. That's really how the program is kind of structured and how we meet. And it results in relationships among students that last a career. And everybody helps each other with, finding the best job or going out and observing teaching and sharing those teaching moments or those challenges. It helps everybody learn when we come together or we meet face to face through WebEx.
Great. Thanks, Dr. Treadway. We actually had another question come in, but you answered it. So that's great.
Thank you.
So my next question is for Lauren, and I wanted to know why you chose this program.
I initially did not think that I would ever be a teacher, ever wanted to be an educator. And so when I had that aha moment my senior year of undergrad, that I really do want to work with children and I want to do it with a super awesome content history, which I love. So I want to share my love of history with our kids. I started researching programs, and I knew Arkansas Tech had such a great reputation for turning out teachers of record. that they were my first choice automatically. I did look at a few other programs. UCA has one, A-State has one, U of A has an online program. But I reached out to Dr. Treadway, and she made time to meet with me. So I drove, we met face to face, and she dedicated an hour and a half of her time and even helped me find a GA-ship. She was very passionate that this was the program. And upon meeting her and the others in the program, I knew that this is where I wanted to be.
Great, thanks. So where are you working at right now?
I previously worked as Dr. Treadway's GA, but I chose to take a step and further my career and accepted a paraprofessional job in a school library up here in Springdale, Arkansas. So COVID and the class flexibility worked great for me because I'm now right where I want to be. I'm living with my fiance in our house, and everything is great up here.
That's great. So you're not working on a provisional licensure, correct?
Not yet, but I am actively job searching and I'm hoping to land that perfect spot in the fall.
Great. And so that's definitely an option in the non-traditional licensure program, is to be able to teach while in the program too. So that is definitely an option. And so my next question for Dr. Treadway is, what are students in this program's next steps? You know, I know with the Center for Leadership and Learning that it's such a stackable program. If you could kind of explain that a little bit further.
Yes, I'd love to, because I think this is really the advantage of coming to Arkansas Tech to pursue your initial licensure if you are at kind of a non-traditional student, really. But you remember on that course rollout that many of the courses are the same across programs. That means that if you go through the MTLL non-traditional teacher licensure program, or even the MTLL curriculum administrator program, you can take courses toward the next, either it's really the next endorsement or licensure license, and those classes will count. And so, you know, we focus in our non-traditional teacher licensure program on teacher leadership. In fact, Arkansas, they're called the Arkansas Teacher Leader Model Standards that are shared across states. But we really focus on what that means and how that will enable people to kind of think about, okay, do I really want to be a leader? I've had these positions in the past maybe in the business world. Can they transfer to teaching to schools? And so most of the time the answer is yes, most definitely. And so they may want to take one more year of coursework toward the curriculum administrator license, or one more year toward the license to be a building principal, which is really neat. And most of that coursework is really a 2-semester internship for those 2 licenses. And so every program has a 2-semester internship, including the NTL program. If a student is a provisional teacher, then they'll intern for 2 semesters. If they're a traditional student teacher, it's usually just 1 semester, unless somebody is like Lauren and they're already working in a school as a paraprofessional, which is really neat. And you know what, Caitlin, I should also mention that many of our students come back for their EDS, which is a building level licensure program. So it's understanding the educational system kind of from a different perspective. And then they will continue to get their EDD in advanced educational leadership studies. And we talk about that, you know, that action research course that everyone takes across all of the master's programs. That's the same course for non-traditional licensure teachers and curriculum administrator students and principal licensed students. And those are the principles that doctoral students use to conduct their research on a problem of practice in a school district. So it's a really neat, very interconnected program that articulates well from the master's level to the EDS to the EDD. So, you know, if you would like more information about that and about the doctoral program, I can certainly share that with you. And please feel free, everyone who's on this Facebook Live, share this information with your colleagues. because I think it's really fun to go through this program with someone you know. Of course, you're going to meet really great friends who will be your friends forever, your colleagues forever. But you may know someone who would like a doctorate, and I can help them with that information as well.
Great, thanks. And so that's what's so unique about Arkansas Tech, the grad college here, is that you can start here with your master's and you can go through and complete your EDD with us too, all within the same building basically. And so it's really awesome. And so my question for Lauren is, what are your next steps? What is this program going to help you achieve?
I graduate in December of 2021, so it's coming up, and I've really started to think about what's going to happen next. And I actually have a meeting with Dr. Treadway because, again, she makes such a great effort to reach out, know her students, and help us feel prepared. So we have a meeting after this, but I plan on looking into the English Language Development Certification Arkansas Tech offers so that I can better serve my students and families going forward. And then it's possible that I might look at the lead teacher certification. I'm really interested in how to become a better teacher and help my colleagues.
Yeah, I think that's fantastic. I think there's something for everyone. There really is something for everyone, because that lead teacher program will enable Lauren to mentor novice teachers, mentor student teachers and novice teachers, teachers who in their first 3 years, but also work with colleagues on professional learning communities, on teams. And I think that's a really neat designation to have. And you know, one thing I like to say to students is, you know, you may not think you're ready for a leadership position, but it's always great to go ahead and take those courses and to continue learning while you're in that graduate school mindset, while you have that momentum going, so that if a principal says, I would like for you to take on this leadership role, then you have everything that you need to step into that position, to assume that responsibility with confidence. And then, golly, we learn so much on the job, but at least you have the coursework under your belt. You know what you are getting into, and you know that you have everything that you need in order to take on the next challenge, the next role. And you know, education is changing, and there's so many things out there that we can do when we have our teaching license. Gosh, there's so much we can do. So it's really great to have the master's degree, and that results in a pay raise in a public school. That's really important, of course, for everybody. And then also to have the other licenses so that when it's time, and that's often a serendipitous moment, right? That you maybe weren't even, you know, certain was actually going to happen. When it does happen, you have the license, and then you can take that next step.
Great. So speaking of pay raises, what kind of funding opportunities are available for students in this program?
That is a great question. I encourage everyone who is teaching in any of the programs to go to the Arkansas Department of Higher Education and look at the financial support, financial opportunities for teachers for graduate studies. And there are a couple that I think are really fantastic. There's one, it's called the Teacher Opportunity Program TOP Grant, and that's around $3,000 a year. It's a one-page application. It is so easy. It's easy money, and very little has to be sent in with that application in order to qualify for that money, and it's a June 1st deadline. And then there are other grants for teachers who go to school districts where there is a shortage of teachers. And sometimes it's not only a shortage of teachers, but it's a shortage of teachers in certain areas like science and math, or maybe foreign languages. And so the Arkansas Department of Higher Education is really, I think, the most consistent source of funding for teachers. And also for loan reimbursement, loan payment after the fact. There are also programs for that as well. So many of our NTL students take out loans. I think that's perfectly fine. I did when I went through graduate school. And then afterwards, depending on where they teach it, say they go to the Delta, they would qualify in most districts in the Delta for loan repayment through the Arkansas Department of Higher Education.
Which is very important. And the Grad College also has a funding page. We'll drop that in the chat here in a second. But we also have a funding page. There's a link to the ADHD talk, well, to that page from our page too that you can look at, as well as some foundation scholarships and things like that that you may not be aware of that are out there. So we'll have that. So make sure if y'all have any questions for us to send those in the chat as we start to wrap things up, and we'll ask that at the end. I think the last thing to go over is to talk about the application and what that looks like. So you can start this program in the summer, fall, or spring semester. We are still accepting applications for all 3 semesters. So it's not too late to start the program in summer if you're wanting to start. I know that's a great time for teachers to start in the summer. Since you do kind of have that break. I know that's usually not how it goes, but anyways, so we do have an outside applications site, so called GradCast, and that's where you will create your application, upload everything, and then we'll get that information, make sure you have everything that we need, and then you will we'll submit that over to Dr. Treadway, who will review it and make a decision. We'll send you your letter, and then help you, set up everything. Dr. Treadway will help you get registered and things like that. But I will let Dr. Treadway go over the specific requirements for each program.
Great, thank you. So to be admitted to the non-traditional teacher licensure program, prospective students need a 2.5 GPA, overall GPA, or a 3-point in their content area. And they need to have an interview with me. And so when somebody emails me or calls me for information, I always share this information and I say, go ahead, go to the Graduate College website, complete the application, upload your transcripts, and then we will have another conversation, but please email me so that I can track your application as it goes through the system. We do not require GRE or MAT. We do not require the ACT with writing, which is what used to be a requirement. And so essentially, you just need to have a heart for kids, have an interview for me before you're admitted to the program. And then once you're admitted, I will register you every semester for classes. So right now, for instance, I'm registering everyone for summer 2021 and fall 2021. And our classes in the summer, I should mention, meet in the evenings as well. So we meet 5:30 to 8:30, 3 days a week in June and 3 days a week in July. And I can send you that information also, that schedule. And it seems like a lot, but we have guest speakers. We do all sorts of really neat things. And when we don't meet, everyone misses each other and they miss coming together. They miss class. So I just wanted to get that in because that's something I didn't mention before. But Caitlin Beard is so helpful. And so between, Caitlin and me, we can make sure that you are quickly admitted to the program, which is really fantastic. And we would just be delighted to speak with you more about the program.
Yes, for sure. So we do have a few more questions in the chat that I'm going to read out. And someone asked, let's see, let me scroll through. Okay. If we started a grad program somewhere else, could we transfer? If so, what is that process? So I do know on the admission side, we can accept up to 9 hours. That is our guidelines. And Dr. Treadway can give a little bit more info on that.
Yes, and I will look at your transcript very closely, and you and I will talk about those courses that may count in our program, in whatever program you are interested in enrolling in. Sometimes that action research course is a course that's been taken at another university. we would just need to check and see. But usually we're very successful in counting other graduate courses that are taken from an accredited university.
Gotcha. So our next question is, you may have mentioned this already, but I wanted to ask, for the non-traditional program, do we have to pick a subject to teach that is closely related to our undergraduate degree, or is it an option to pick any subject?
Well, you need to, it's sometimes yes and no. Okay, sometimes someone has majored in ag business or ag ed, and they want to teach business. Well, when there are enough business courses, it is possible to teach that content area. But remember that you need to pass that Praxis content exam, and it's rigorous. And we focus in our program on the teaching strategies, the curriculum and instruction piece, and you come in with the content area. There are no content methods courses, so you need to have a deep understanding, a really good foundation of content in order to teach that content area. But we'll look at your transcript, and I'll be happy to look at it even before you apply to the graduate college, if you would like, and I can talk with you about the different content areas in which you would be qualified to teach. But usually we're able to really help people teach the content that they're very passionate about. But that Praxis content is really important, and you need to have some courses in those content areas in order to pass that Praxis.
Right. So another question that we had is, what is something you look for in the interview process, and how can I prepare for that? Will you talk a little bit about the...
Well, it's really just a conversation, isn't it, Lauren? It's really just a conversation about you and who you are, where you're from. If you've ever worked with children, most people have in some capacity or another. It's not actually necessary, perhaps, but we have a lot of people who've been in kind of volunteer coaches. It's interesting. We have had a lot of retired military who've maybe not had direct work with children, but they have been in leadership roles in the military. So they've worked with younger troops. And so they have, and really what I want to be able to have a conversation with you is, why do you want to go into teaching? Do you have a heart for kids? Do you like working with other people? Because teaching is not about earning the license and then going into the classroom and closing the door. It's really about working with others and making sure that you take into consideration the whole child when teaching, and which may be a little bit different from our educational experience, some of our experience if we're a little bit older. So there's a different philosophy nowadays, but I wouldn't worry about that interview. It's not strict. It's just really a conversation. Some people get really excited to hear all about the courses, and that's part of that conversation. Some people say, well, that's a lot, and I'm going to think about it. And so I just want to give you the information so that you can make, an informed decision based on where you are in your life.
Great. So we got one more question. I just want to remind everyone to be sure to drop your email in the chat. We're going to draw for a $40 application fee waiver at the end, but your email has to be in the chat for us to pick you. So go ahead and do that now. And our last question is, do I have to have an education bachelor's degree for these programs?
No, you do not. You do not. There are some people who have an education background, but it is not necessary. In fact, some of the very first courses that you take are really intended to help you think about your life experience and how that relates to teaching in the classroom, relates to mentoring and coaching students, relates to working with other professionals. And so, no, not at all. Not at all. Golly, one class that everybody takes in June is school organization and leadership. And that's like, what is a school? What kinds of schools are out there? What does how do public schools differ from open enrollment public charter schools or magnet schools or even private and parochial schools? We have those types of conversations. And then you meet a lot of people who are teachers, who are even, coaches and principals and superintendents. You go out and interview. So you really are learning what school is like today, and then building on your own educational experience. So, which is going to be probably different from what you're going to be encountering in schools today, but that's okay because it's really the foundation. It's your background experience. And, so we help each other and make sure everybody feels like they're getting what they need in class. Don't you think, Lauren? Yeah. Yes. We have lots of good conversation around, what does this mean? How does this work? So that's
I was one of those people who started the program in an off semester, so I started in January. And there were times I felt like I wasn't real sure what was going on, but my cohort was so welcoming and loving, and we really are a family. So please reach out to me, reach out to Dr. Treadway, and get to know us because, like me, once you talk to us, you're going to love us.
I agree. Yesterday we met and I was already ready to apply to the program myself. And I already have a master's. So that is it. There were not any other questions. I just want to thank everyone for being so engaged and asking so many questions here in the chat. Again, we dropped our contact information, Dr. Treadway's, even Lauren, if you want to, chat with her about the student perspective in the NTL program. And then, of course, mine, if you have any questions, or if you just want to email the general graduate admissions email too, I'll respond either way. But we are definitely here if you have any additional questions. Feel free to reach out. We're going to draw now for the application fee waiver. We've got quite a bit of emails. So let me see which one it's going to be. It looks like Samuel Millard, if I'm saying your last name correctly, won the application fee waiver. So congratulations. I will send you an email after this and give you the directions on how to use that when you're ready to apply. So congrats on that. I just want to thank everyone for joining us. Thanks, Dr. Treadway and Lauren, for joining us, especially after 5. So it's really great to have everyone here. This is going to be recorded. So if you missed anything, you can always go back and watch it from the beginning to get that additional information. We'll add it to our website as well. So looking forward to hearing from everyone. If we can help you in any way, please contact us. And thanks again, guys, and have a great night. Bye. See y'all.